Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. The heat continues, so the only work I can do out here is morning time before the sun hits that roof, which currently is about 12 o'clock, which isn't, it could be a lot worse. Around the other place, I used to get the sun for like 12, 14 hours midsummer, whereas now I get it from around 12 and it disappears about 5. And I noticed yesterday where the shadow comes on that halfway point, it's already moved 6 inches away. So the sun is dropping, and it's only when you get an really, is it an acute angle? Yeah, a very steep angle that it shows that much. I mean, obviously an upright wouldn't show it that much. Anyway, this was sort of requested by a few people, and I haven't done one for quite a while. And this one will need a fair bit of work, but people wanted to see me get my Dendrobium ready to take to the competition tables tomorrow. Now this one's a bit unusual because it does need some work doing on it. It doesn't just need slightly rearranging, if you know what I mean. I've even got to mess about with the pot, so this is a sort of full-blown thing. I'll probably do it in phases with breaks, that way sort of tune into the bits that may be more relevant to you. So we'll swing the camera around. In fact, I'll bring it out so that you're more looking a bit over my shoulder, sort of thing. Something like that, I think. Yeah, looks about right. And I'll be about here, so I'm not blocking your view, am I? Right, okay. Now, things I've got those in here because I'm going to take some canes off. I want to get right down at the base and take them off at the base. So that's what the big stuff's for. As you can say, open. Thank you. And I've got my scissors to do some trimming, tidying, shall we say. Some things are going to get torn off. You'll see in a minute. And then over here I've got a little glass container. I've got my 70% rubbing alcohol, and I've got some cotton buds. And that's because this plant once upon a time did have a lot of scale. And I've always said if you've had scale you've probably still got some. So I want to go over the plant with a fine tooth comb with the alcohol and the cotton wool buds and remove any scale I can find. And probably I'll be removing bodies, so X scale, but they're still there. And to all intents and purposes, who knows they're dead except me? So if they're seen, I'll probably have to remove the plant. So that's what that's for. So first job is the plant. Rather than messing about with things I don't really need, we'll take canes off first. Now this is an old cane that's been chopped for some reason, I don't know why, but it is a sturdy cane, and it's firm and it's quite chunky, so it's capable of storing nutrients, etc. Coming round here we've got an old cane here. That one serves no purpose, we'll take that one off. So that's that one, and out the way. What else? I'm going to take that one off in the middle there as well, because that's I put it on the turntable so that I can swing it round at leisure. Right, so that's a couple of old canes taken off, and at least one of those had quite a few scale bodies on it because it was obviously quite badly infested once upon a time. I will leave this one, and I will leave this one. Now the reason I'm leaving some of the old canes is it shows age to the plant. Yeah? Right, so that's that. The next thing is tearing off leaves that are going to fall off very soon anyway. And that is that one. Just peel them down gently, down the cane. That one. Again, just peel it down. And that one. Now there are a couple of others that are starting to yellow, What do I think? I'll take too many off. I'm going to take that one off. See, now there's, in the leaf joint there's a couple of scale. They're dead, they're just falling off. If they come off that easy, the Bois de Val scale, the adults, then they're dead. Yeah, they died a long time ago. Yeah, there's a few bodies in that leaf joint as well. Right, the other snips I want to do are old flower spikes. They obviously serve no purpose and they make the plant look tatty. So they can just be snipped off. There's quite a few of these because this has bloomed quite a few times before, as you remember probably. Got some up here as well. Right, so that's the old flower spikes. Have I missed any? Usually do. Right, so that's that. So the next thing is bugs. No, it's not. Next thing is a slurp. That's a metric slurp, not an imperial one. I have moved on. Right, so we'll get a drop of alcohol out. Serves two purposes. First of all, it makes sure what I'm removing is dead, and also leaves a nice clean area where anything's been removed, and yeah, it just does the job reasonably well. And then these little cotton buds, you can get them in tubs or packs or whatever, lots of different makes, and then just dunk that in there. Then wherever I see a white dot, we remove it. And it's specifically leaf joints, worst hidey holes, cane joints, so where the joints in the canes are, and do a cane at a time. Don't do a bit of one and then move on, do a bit of another and a bit of another. You'll miss bits. So do a whole cane at a time if you're bug checking. Just make sure you get a lot. Just say, oh, these are old. But not everybody will know they're old, and some people can get, you know, the just in case syndrome. So you might have your plant removed. Yeah, I thought, you know, I did miss one. Flower spike. The one tucked in there. Right, so that's that cane. Now moving on to the cane right next to it, we don't see anything on there, so we don't need to worry about that one. Then we'll move to the first one with the flowers on. Again, leaf joints, hidey holes, that one's fine. Then we come round to this one. The older canes are going to be the worst because that's where the bodies will be from the old days. There's a couple on, again, on joints, the cane joints, leaf joints, okay on this one. Don't forget to look round both sides. That's why I put my plant on the turntable. I thought I could spin this round and, you know, make sure I'm getting everything. Right, next cane along is that old one. We're okay there. And to the other side. That one's okay. Then we've got this one, which is going to have to move because it's not in a very good position. But we're not doing that bit yet. We're doing bugs at the moment. Or bugs' bodies, I think I ought to call them. They're not. These are not live bugs. Right. That's that one. Now we move round to this one, and on here I do believe I have a couple of live bugs. So down in that leaf joint it's possible. This leaf joint definitely. So I always said if you've had scale you've still got them somewhere. And on this plant I could not shift them. They were there and they were damaging the plant, and they were really winding me up at one point. So obviously we've got to the stage now, probably via the hotbox. That did do a wonderful job. But there's only certain times of year I can use it. So there's a wire hook here that's slipped down, so not serving any purpose at the moment. I may well reuse it again in a minute. Right, where did I get to? To the front of this cane, we're okay up to there. Now I've got to do the other side of that cane. So the whole plant's got to turn right round to be able to get at this side of the cane. What about scale? That looked like a mealybug. Don't think it was. Relatively safe on the mealybug front. Right, so that's that one. And we came at that one from this side, so I do believe that was the last cane. So just have a quick spin and use my keen eye to spot any white dots anywhere, no matter where they are. Aha. Cane joints. Missed a few there. Well, I think that's it. Right, so we've taken the flower spikes off. I haven't taken them right back to the cane. As I said, they do show an age to the plant. You know, the fact that it has flowered quite a few times in the past. We've taken off the worst of the tatty leaves. They'd gone beyond photosynthesizing, so they were going to drop soon anyway. So that just tidies it up for aesthetic purposes. And it does no harm. Yeah. So now what we've got to do is try and think about the display. Now obviously the display front is going to be there, and these two canes are too far apart. They need to come in there, like that. Now this hook here might actually do the job. It might be too much. It might be too much. It might not be long enough. In fact, let's just make it a bit longer. Let's just straighten it and rebend it. Put a new curve on the end. Same again the other end. Right, so let's see what we can do with that. So what am I looking for? I'm looking to get the two canes together. And preferably the leaves will hide this hook. That's my theory, what I have. No, the wire's too short. That's too abrupt. It's too squashed together now. It still needs some space between those two canes. Pity, otherwise I could have got away with not getting any more wire, but we will have to do something different to that. So the idea is when these two come together, that these couple of blooms here aren't wasted, they will stick over the top because that cane's longer. So I need a piece of wire that thickness and a little bit longer. I'll be back. Right, this piece is it's a bit thicker, but it's a bit longer, which was the main thing. Being thicker, I'll need my pliers to bend it. So just turn that. And then obviously making sure that the curves line up. We don't want one going like that and the other one going like that. So something like that. Line those two up together. Now let's see. Where do I want them again? There, this piece still might not be long enough, you know, but we will give it a try. Actually, that's just the job. Now the only thing I want to do now is that this cane here just needs to be brought forward. Yeah, so that it becomes part of the group. Is it actually worth it? This bloom's going over here, it's got brown tips. Well, it's only a matter of just clipping that like that. Not exactly a big deal, is it? In fact, I can use this piece of wire. So I don't need my wire cutters. not for a little bit like that. I'll use the pliers. So if we hook that round the wire we've just put on, give that a twist, and then we need to pull that cane in that much, so we need a hook about there, which means we need it about that long to be able to put a bend on it. Right, let's see what that does then. So I'm hooking this wire around the wire I've just put on there, and then just coming up to that cane and just pulling it a little bit, not a lot. And that curve needs to be a little bit more because it's slipping. So again, round there and then round that cane. You're going to stay there, or you're going to slip, aren't you? Well, you can only slip so far, so what we do is we shorten the wire. How do we shorten the wire? Put a kink in it. That way you can adjust it to whatever length you like. So that's pulled those in. Now I'm not going to try manipulating every single bloom. I've got a cluster of blooms here, some are facing completely the wrong way, but that's how they've opened. There's not much I can do about that, but when you get a bloom like that that's tucked down behind, you can sort of lift them up. You can just sort of arrange them so that they're all showing forward the best you can. Sort of like that. And then I've got some, if somebody approaches the plant from this way as they walk along, they've got some nice blooms to attract them in. And then they've got the full view here. And if they come in from this side, they've still got some open blooms they can see. So that'll do. So that's the plant. Now we've got to sort the pot out. Now this pot, first of all, is going to have a good water now, so that it's not going to drip all over my car tomorrow, but it'll still be wet. Given the weight of the plant, oh, so I've just spotted some white bits. How did I miss them? Little white spots, about 3. That's enough. Somebody spots them, that's enough for somebody to say, nope, not judging that, get out. I don't think it missed any others. Just going to have another check now. Some of these leaves feel a little bit limp actually. I think it's getting a bit dry. But then, you know, with the heat we've got at the moment, I suspect everything's a bit dry really. Pardon me. those are just leaf marks. Right, yes, so where did I get to? Pot. So to get this to stand upright here in this place, you've got a heavy clay pot, yeah? And clay pots are always a different shape to plastic pots. Clay pots tend to have that sort of angle to them and quite small bases. So often you try and put a plastic pot in and it doesn't go down to the bottom of the clay pot, so it still sort of does that with the weight of the plant. So you end up having a bigger clay pot so that something that shape goes down into that shape down to the base. But what I did with this is it's a bigger shallow pot, it's a pan really, so that it did sit on the base, and then I jammed some of these down the side to make sure this didn't wobble around or tip over. And this kept it all upright and stopped it falling. So that's why it's how it is. But I need it in a black pot. So the next thing is to find a suitable sized black pot. Let me just have another front look at the plant. What sort of pot size do we need? Because if you've got a plant that takes up this sort of amount of space and you put it in a bucket, it will look stupid. Also, if you put it in a tiny little pot so it's obvious you've only got to touch it and it'll fall over, again, not practical. So I need a pot bigger than that, but not too much bigger. And I need the top of that pot to be inside the rim of the black pot. So I'm just scanning what I've got over here. I've got a hell of an assortment of black pots over here, from various things that have come out of them or been used. How about that one? It's roughly the same size, so it's not big enough. And the next size up, unfortunately, is quite a bit bigger, but that's what it's going to have to be. Yeah, I think that'll do. So the next job is to go and get that clean. It's much easier to do it before the plant goes in it. So we'll go and give that a wash and a dry, and I'll be back. Right, so we've got a pot. That's actually a very wide bottomed pot. That's going to come in useful for the next bit. Now if I lift this out, it becomes very obvious that it's very, very top heavy. Yeah? So what we're going to do is we're going to place it in there, and we can completely surround it with pumice. Now unfortunately this is going to go all over the place, but this has got weight to it, and it'll have more weight to it when I water it in a minute. So I'm just dropping this down the side. Yeah, I've got to keep my eye on the pot because I want the pot to stay central if I can, which means I don't want to put too much down one side so that I can't get any down the opposite side. So I'm doing a bit at a time. And then once it gets about halfway up the pot won't move. It'll be jammed in at that point. Going all over the place as expected. Now this is not wasted. Obviously when I come back this will get emptied back into the bag and reused. It's only being used for weight to hold the pot still and hold it upright so it doesn't fall over. A bit fiddly, but you only do these things once. stay there. Oh, and you'll be pleased to hear that coach trip to Burnham's with Bournemouth Orchid Society, I've decided to go on that. Another day out, and it's an all day out. You know, I'm not that keen on all days out at the moment because obviously Mojo's getting on a bit now and there's only so much time left with him, and I don't know how he feels. I know that he behaves differently. When I'm out all day, he does what he used to do, which is goes up on the bed. Now that's a darkened room because I don't pull my curtains in the bedroom. I see no point. I'm not up there in the daytime, and as soon as I go up there to go to sleep, I pull them again. So I stopped doing that. I just leave them closed. But yeah, now since he got his fluffy blanket on the settee, he stopped going upstairs during the day, which is nice because it means he's down here with me. Now obviously when the weather's good he does spend an amount of time out in the garden, which I'm happy with, getting some fresh air, but he doesn't go up on the bed now except at night when I'm up there. But if I'm out all day, when I come back, he's always up on the bed. So obviously his behaviour does change when I'm not here. And that could be that he's looking for me. And the last place he looks is upstairs and he thinks, oh well, I'm up here now, I'll stay. I don't know whether cats are capable of that sort of deep thinking. Probably not. So I'm trying to get as much out of the pot as possible because part of the attraction of this plant is the massive new roots growing and all the nice green growing root tips. So it'd be nice if they were visible. So a lot of this stuff that's pumice that's gone over the edge of the pot, I'm trying to get off. That's about it, I reckon. And that now weighs quite a lot. We'll put it over to there, gather up what hasn't gone in the pot, put it back in the bag. So otherwise it'll be all over the floor. The trouble is if you tread on it, it crushes. And then there's tiny little pieces all over the place. So we'll get it back in the bag. I'll get the hoover in a minute, hoover up the dust. Right, so we are there now. Oh, we've got pumice coming out the holes in the bottom of the pot. I forgot that was going to happen. It's probably only going to happen for a short time. And the way I can stop it is, unfortunately, I haven't got black drip trays. I've only got the terracotta coloured ones. And that won't be big enough, I doubt. No. It's just perched on there, it's not in it. Right, so the next thing is a good watering, and as I said, I will do that now. It's very, very lopsided. I don't think there's much I can do about it because this cane is over at quite an angle, and it would be much better if I could get that cane up there and that cane over there. Then the whole plant would be more upright, but that's not how it's growing. That's not what it's doing. So there's not a lot I can do to rearrange the plant in its pot at this point, you know, without repotting completely. So that's how it's going to have to stay. So anyway, that's as it's going to go in. We've got some green leaves showing on both sides, got a tall cane out the back, and we've got two nice clusters, and this one just about peeking over the top. Just about, which we will manoeuvre a bit over. I'm just going to move that support so that it drags that over that way a little bit more. There we go. Yeah, so it can go in like that. So good soak now. The pumice as well as the actual plant itself, give it a good soak now, and then by tomorrow it will have finished dripping. and then it can sit on the car seat. I mean, my car seats are leather, so you know, if they get a bit damp, it doesn't matter, it'll just dry. So there we go, that's some of the ideas about getting a plant ready. Obviously each plant's different, and you have to think about it as an individual, as far as, you know, the actual display of the plant, what it's in, all that sort of stuff. You have to treat each plant as an individual and do what you can. But I always say that, you know, whatever a plant looks like, you can probably spend a bit of time and make it look a little bit better. And obviously with these blooms closer together, you've got a much nicer display of the blooms in question. So yeah. Keep seeing white dots. I'll have another look over it tomorrow morning with fresh eyes. Now I've got to be off about 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, which means I've got to leave this place unattended, which I'm not happy about, but I've got no choice. So I'm going to risk Mojo being allowed out here, because he'll wander out to that door and want to go in the garden. Well, he'll sit there for a while and then realise that I'm not here and he can't go out, so he'll then do whatever he needs to do. As I said, he'll probably just go up on the bed and go to sleep. But that way I can leave that door partially open, I can leave the fan on double speed, fill the humidifier up and leave everything running, because the heat and the sun are guaranteed tomorrow. It's not like I'm taking a risk that it turns cloudy and then everything's on full blast when it's not needed. The sun and the heat are guaranteed tomorrow. We got a 30+ day, and this heat wave's a bit different because normally along the south coast the heat's always been over in the east, so London and eastwards. Not this time, it's right up the middle, and there's a tiny thin band around the south coast that looks like I might stay 27, 28 today, but then that could add another couple of degrees on tomorrow because the residual heat from today will not dissipate overnight. So it's just going to hang around, which is going to be another uncomfortable night to try and get to sleep again. And then we'll run with that. So yeah, it's a meeting. I got treasury type stuff to do. I think there's an in-house talk. Might even be 2 people doing the talk, I'm not quite sure, but you know, I got the kit to take in and everything, and we got to try and test out this Google Meet sort of replacement for Zoom. So we'll have 2 different laptops there, providing we can both get on the internet, which is there and free. Then we should be able to set it up and test it out. The only problem is the guy that's brought in the second laptop to be able to test all this is actually doing the talk, so he's going to be busy a lot of the day, and to try and find a slot to be able to do this might not be able to happen. It might have to wait till the next meeting. Blow it, you know, there's only so much you can do. We shall see. And God, some more white dots. They are only, do you know what I think? I got a feeling it might be the dust off my hands from the pumice. Anyway, that's having a think about some of the things you would worry about putting a plant in any form of show or display. Because don't forget, an Orchid Society's display, each plant is still going to be inspected as an individual. Okay, you may be judging the whole display, like at things like the Gardeners World Live, the NEC. You get you can get awards for the actual display, the whole thing. But within that are individual plants that are being judged as well. So you still need each individual plant to be given its best opportunity to look its best. That's all you can do. And obviously you have to have a plant in a state to be able to do that with. Otherwise they all stay at home. And that's how it is. Right, so obviously no video tomorrow, and I shall see you on Sunday for the Sunday chat. Thanks for dropping by. Don't forget the old thumbs up, and I'll see you on Sunday. Bye for now.